Today, we want to talk about the CARE framework, which is a tool that we have developed as a way of understanding how we might approach challenging situations in our families. CARE stands for connect, attune, read, and engage. And what we're going to go through today is what each of these components of this framework mean and how they build on one another so that we're able to best meet the needs of our families.
One of the reasons why we are bringing this particular framework forward and developing it and using it with the families that we're working with is that it's providing a really simple tool to help when maybe you're in a challenging situation, things feel overwhelming, you do care, you do love your children, you don't want to react, you want to be able to respond, and how to help hold yourself in that situation to get to the best result possible. We've chosen care because it's a simple thing to remember because you care about your child, you care about yourself. And in thinking about caring, then that's such an easy word. All of a sudden, oh yeah, there's that care thing, right? Oh yeah, connect first. So if that's even the only first step that you're able to do for a little while, that's okay. In behavior, it's all about doing the small little things. Even just a micro millimeter increment is enough for a change. So being kind and generous with yourself, like, oh yeah, okay, well, I did connect with myself today, but then I still exploded and I still got sharp, or I still yelled, or I still did the thing that I have always done. But next time I can think about it and maybe I'll do something even a little bit different. And that's okay. That is how we develop. And that's why Miriam and I are working with this framework because that's something that we love is human development. And human development is a beautiful process of small, tiny movements forward in our evolution and development.
One of the reasons we really love this framework is because of the ordering or the sequence. So, a lot of parenting resources that are out there, they start with the behavior of the child or the diagnosis or strategies on how to work with the child or skill building. And all of these are great, but where the care framework is somewhat different is that this begins with you. Specifically, it begins with your nervous system. The knee-jerk reaction is something that's deeply embedded in each of us. But what we're trying to do here is learn how to better respond to stimulus, better respond to challenges. And so we can't do that really well when we are not regulated. So the order of the care framework starts with us as individuals. How are we doing? Are we regulated? So why don't we just jump into the actual framework, starting with the C, which is connect. This is like connecting with ourselves, coming back to self first.
Yeah. And that's something that doesn't always get taught because the tendency is to focus on the problem and what is the solution to the problem. And in the solution to the problem, it's usually considering the challenging behavior that's happening and how the parent is going to interact with that. But we're talking about a step prior to that, which is I see the problem, I need to connect with it, but I need to connect with myself first because if I'm super dysregulated and I go try to find a solution to a problem where my child's super dysregulated, we're probably not going to have the most successful outcome. But if I can find a moment, and sometimes that's all it takes, a breath. Okay. And even in that breath, I'm pulling in information like, okay, how am I going to connect to myself? How am I going to connect to my child? Just take a breath. And I move toward my child in a regulated state. My awareness is on, my curiosity might be more present. I can manage where I am at within myself and be able to engage with my child in a different way than when I don't take that moment. There's a great quote by Viktor Frankl that is talked about often, but talks about the space between stimulus and response and our power to choose in that moment is what gives us our freedom. It allows us to have the opportunity to do something different. When we talk about reaction, a reaction is I see the situation and I'm just going to let whatever happen happen. Versus a response, I see the situation I recognize what my reaction is typically going to be, but instead of doing that, I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to evaluate. I'm going to sit for just a minute and make a choice.
Yeah. And that is such a powerful thing for a parent to be able to do. When we feel dysregulated, when our system goes into a state of fight or flight, there's an eruption of emotion. Instead of reacting in that space, we really want to get back into a space of presence with ourselves and calm. And that when we can connect with ourselves in that way, then we are able to better engage with our environment. So, connection's not really about being perfect or unbothered. It's about being honest about the state that you're in and taking responsibility for it before it spills into other interactions. And I've made this mistake so many times in my life, where when I'm angry and when I'm flooded with my daughter, that's when I engage with her. Stop doing that, and it comes from this place of sharpness. And it's actually not the way that, if I was really to think about it, would be helpful to get the outcome that I want. And so we're slowing that down when we're connecting with ourselves so that we are able to choose our response in an informed way. And another aspect to the connect piece is that when we're looking at a family, it is the caretaker that holds the anchor in that home. The parent's nervous system is one of the most important variables, not because parents are to blame for everything, but because caregivers are the ones with the tools and understanding of how to regulate. And when they can do that through example, it has massive implications to the family. And so when we as caregivers and parents can move into regulation, we're teaching our children through our example how to do so. And not only does it serve as an example, but it also is so effective in actually calming down the entire family system. This empowers us, this empowers our children, and it also can lead to the positive outcomes and smoothness in our homes that we're hoping for.
Yeah. And so how do we bring this home to you? Like what does it mean to connect or what does it mean to calm? And honestly, as much as I would love to be able to tell you exactly what you need for yourself, that's not something that I can do. I can tell you the things that work for me. Miriam can tell you the things that work for her. But ultimately, what are the things that work for you? Does taking a breath work? I remember people telling me to take a bath when I was younger with my younger kids, and I'm like, "Pfft, are you kidding me? I don't have time for a bath. That's not going to help me calm down at all." um, is it meditation? That's something that a tool that I use now. Is it picking up your phone and looking at a funny picture? Is it playing a game for a minute? What are some of the things that work for you?
Yeah, definitely taking a walk and cooking into the sauce of my life, moments where I can regulate. So not waiting for the moment where I am dysregulated when something floods me, but actively working towards ways that I can connect to myself, that I can calm myself, that I can bring a sense of presence to where I'm at. I kind of have a check-in with myself. I have these little touch points throughout my day. I even have a timer sometimes on my phone so that I have just a deep breath break, and it really does help me to come back to my center, to come back to me, to be present with myself. And when I can practice that as a muscle that is exercised throughout the day, then I'm not going to be so easily irritated by my environment, right? Because I've been proactive. Something that I've learned is that in the moment that I'm activated, in the moment that I'm frustrated, it's really difficult to slow things down. And so sometimes what it requires is ahead of time to work slowly up to being able to be present and calm in myself. There's a lot of ways that I feel like we can connect with ourselves and love ourselves. And we'll go through more tips and tricks, but this is such an important and fundamental aspect to the care framework.